Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Solana. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. If you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. It's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now let's jump straight into the TA. Jumping into the daily chart on Solana, as you can see, we ran into a resistance level here. And this is the same resistance that we have retested twice before. So this was a very nice area to take some profits. The first touch was back in August 2022. Second touch was in November last year. And a third touch occurred here in February. And as you can see from there, we've already pulled back down around about 13% back to the 20 EMA. So this was a nice 13% swing trade opportunity here for anyone looking to buy into Solana. Now, obviously, we did have this strong dip over here, and this was a very good buying opportunity. You did have these support blocks that I set up way ahead before any of this happened. And I told you if we were to lose this support block, which is set up from $9.86 down to $7.66, we could be targeting the 1.414 fib retracement at $6.46. Luckily for a lot of people, we didn't go that low. However, if you don't know how to use the Fibonacci retracements and where these fib levels come from, you can check out the description. There's going to be a link to a video where I explain how exactly you can use the Fibonacci retracement. Now, in this case, we have the swing high set up back in November, and the swing low was set up all the way back here in May of 2021. And our technical target after losing the first fib level here was all the way down here at $3.79 because the 1.618 is where you typically retrace after you lose the first fib level. So this would have been something like this. Not always, but typically that's what happens. But your minimal target is the 1.272, and that was at $9.36. That was a very nice entry. As you can see, right off of that, we just bounced up and we're up 151% already. So that's all good. If we're going to be seeing a pullback potentially deeper into this upper support block, we could be retesting $18 all the way down to $12. In that range, that's where you can be accumulating a lot of Solana. If you're a believer in the project and you want to be holding long term, then I would say this support block from $18 to $12 is the best one. And potentially you might have some buy limit orders set up in advance just in case we see a wick or something like this here, because you never know if we're going to be getting another black swan event or not. So you always have to be ready with buy limit orders set up in advance. So also the first fib level here you have at $19. That can be a nice buying area for you. And if you take a look at this blues resistance trend line that we had, so the first touch was back in April last year, second touch was in November, and as you can see here, we broke above that in January, and now we're back. We were back testing it here in February, and we're bouncing off of that. So from what we're seeing right now, the blue trend line is flipped or has flipped to support. So potentially the next time we see a retracement, we're going to be coming back down to that blue trend line, and that's going to be your perfect entry into the project. So if you're holding long term, like I said, I would be buying after a retracement, and what we're seeing right now is basically a move to the upside and you're kind of overextended, so I would like to see a retracement down. I don't know if we're going to be getting that. Personally, I'm not entering into Solana as there are a lot of other projects that I like a lot more than Solana, but for anyone looking to enter, like I said, $19.07 is your first area, and then you have the support block here below. Jumping into the daily RSI, let's see what's going on here. So this was actually a very tradable event because we bounced off of this at the end of December. This was a very good entry. I showed this way before we bounced off of this trend line because we had 3 touches beforehand. As you can see, one in January last year, one in May, and one in November. And then we had this one in December with an immediate move to the upside. So this was an incredible buying opportunity. If you were watching my videos and you had this drawn out on your charts, you could have had a very nice entry and you could have had a very nice exit because we were in this channel up pattern with one fake out prior to this one, obviously. And this upward trend line was a very, very good entry, or rather exit, and this was a very good re-entry. So you could have taken profits here, and you could have waited until you went all the way back down there, and that would have been a very nice entry. And yeah, that's how you trade if you pay attention and if you really are willing to take the risk and you don't want to be holding the asset for the long term. Obviously, then you can work with these swing trades if you're careful and you know what you're doing. If not, I would just suggest you stay away from swing trading and simply stick to holding long term and staking. Now, I do want to switch over to the weekly Binance chart. And before we continue, guys, I quickly want to talk about my Patreon. Now, if you want to get involved, there's going to be a 7-day free trial, so you can go ahead and join, and you're going to get access to all of my content since I started posting on Patreon, which was all the way back in October of 2021. So there are hundreds and hundreds of posts with low cap gems, my exclusive podcasts that I do for patrons only, my low cap gem reviews, project highlights, your technical analysis requests, exclusive videos for patrons. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there that I don't share on YouTube or Twitter as to add more value to it. And I also share all of my buys, all of my sells. I share my portfolio in there. So if that's something that you're interested in and you really want to support the channel, then feel free to check it out. Thank you. Jumping into the weekly chart on Binance, as you can see, we just retested this support trend line for the second time. The first touch was back in December 2020. So we do have a nice ascending support trend line that hopefully is going to be keeping us afloat moving forward. So if we see another capitulation, I would like us to retest this and not go lower. Obviously, we can see a wick down to this green support block, just like we did over here back in December. So this support block is set up from $9.90 all the way down to $8.10. That's going to be your support block. That's going to be your entry. But honestly, if Bitcoin is not going to be going below, let's say $19,000, $18,000, I don't think Solana is going to be retesting that support block. And as you can see, we're getting pretty close to the apex here. This is not necessarily a symmetrical triangle, although it does look like a very, very nice symmetrical triangle because we don't have any price action in this area. So this is more like a resistance trend line, a support trend line, and the price action getting compressed in between those two, and compression leads to a breakout. So potentially we're going to see a break to the upside or a break to the downside. This is really a 50-50 pattern. There is no bias in this case. But what is important to keep in mind is this resistance level at $30.50, as that was a major support level back in 2022. We held that as support throughout the second part of the year with the initial dump in June. So in June, we held it as support. In August, throughout October. In November, we dumped with the FTX news. We created this green support block, and now we're back around the 20 EMA. So this is where the average price is right now on the weekly chart for Solana, $25. That's a fair price for the token, in my opinion. So yeah, if we don't break above this 30 or we get rejected from there, there's a good chance we might be coming back down for a retest, at least $19.70. But your major target is here at $30.50. Now, if we're looking for long-term targets, let's try to set up the fib here from that low to the all-time high. And we get the 1.414. Actually, we don't have the 1.272 here for some reason. Let's add that in. There we go. So the 1.272 is going to be sitting at $625. I would say that is doable if Solana doesn't have any more bearish news coming out of this FTX situation. So if all things go well, we might see a move to $625. That's going to be a 2,400% move to the upside. I think that's doable, but I wouldn't be counting on it, to be honest with you. I would say retracing back to the previous all-time high would be great. And if you want to take profits there, fine. That's like a 10x from where we are right now. I would say that's more than more than enough. Really, if you were investing in Solana back here at $3 and $2 and you made this much money with it, I would say, expecting the same kind of gains in terms of percentage is going to be crazy. So I would say stay conservative and have your targets set up in advance. Now, taking a look at the stochastic on the weekly, we have the settings set up as 54 and 28, just so we don't have a lot of false signals. And right now we're still in the oversold there. The RSI, as you can see, has started recovering from the oversold. So as soon as we peaked into, or as soon as we touched the oversold area below the index of 30, immediately saw a response. We saw a very strong response here. So that is going to be another resistance level that we can create here with a bit of a trend line. So that's something that we can be targeting moving forward, as we did retest that. Also, what you can do is you can add that trend line there. So you sort of have a channel pattern that you're creating here. And you might be coming back down to retest that until you eventually break out. So this is all a hypothetical, obviously. I would be waiting for the Fed's FOMC meeting coming up in March, because that's going to be very important. If they decide to be moving up the interest rates by another 50 basis points instead of 25, that could be a huge deal, and we might see a very strong pullback with the S&P 500 and crypto markets altogether. So be ready for every single outcome. And if you don't have any Solana and you're looking to buy in right now, I would say buying off the daily 20 EMA is as good as it gets, because you can't really be we probably already bottomed, right? We don't know, but we probably already bottomed. So you don't want to be guessing here because the time is running out, to be honest with you. We're getting closer and closer to the next halving, so you want to be exposed to the markets, and I would say $25 is a fair price here for Solana, but never buy all in. So if we go lower, just dollar cost average in, but this is not a financial advice, obviously. And that is it for Solana. If I missed out anything important, please let me know down below in the comment section. Feel free to follow me on Patreon and Twitter. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.